Hello everyone who joined us at the time. So let's wait for 50 seconds and we'll start. Okay, so let's probably start at that point. So my name is Dmitry, and I've been working as a lead software engineer at EPAM. I've been working with especially React-native technologies for more than 4.5 years. And today I'm gonna share with you some tips and tricks to how to optimize the performance in React-native application. Because personally, I think that the biggest myth for those who just joined the React Native community is the performance of the application. Today we're gonna be a myth busters. So and uh, so and I would say that why is it a myth for us? So because it happened before. Currently, the newest technologies already optimized and they can handle vast number of performance issues under the box. And I'm really convinced that uh, all of performance issues are caused by ourselves. So it can be caused by the absence of knowledge in a technology, and how does the system work, how events are handled in the system, how the features handled out of the box, under the box. And it's time to have a look at how can we catch performance issues, and I will share with you the most common problems I've seen during the development. Please type in the chat plus if you see my presentation well. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Let's probably start. This is my self-introduction. During the development, I developed more than 10 applications in the following fields. It's a fintech, blockchain, networking, medicine, manufacturing, delivery, interpretation. And during the development processes, I faced a lot of performance issues that was caused by the developers. Today we're gonna talk about mobile app performance. What is it? What is the main metrics of the performance? The next is how can we measure that? So it is really important to catch performance issues, and we need to know how can we deal with that. So next thing I would like to cover only React Native specific performance issues. And then we will talk about. I will answer your questions if you have something. Well, let's move on. So what is mobile performance? Mobile performance is a non-functional quality attribute of a mobile app related to how well it behaves and how it uses the resources available in the device where it runs. So when it comes to how well it behaves, it contains some metrics like load time, response time, and they are connected with the different fields of performance. So when we are talking about performance, from my point of view, time is the main performance metric. Only time indicates how fast the app responds to the user interactions. And I would also cover that React Native currently delivers to clients 60 FPS. So, and you may hear that a lot of time. So, and it means, and I will share with you what does it mean. It means that uh, 60 frames will be rendered per 1 second. It's about 60 milliseconds per frame. And what does it mean from the development perspective? It means that if your action takes more than 16 milliseconds, you will drop the frames and UI will become unresponsive. And this is the main indicator of the performance leak here. So there are three big factors that affect the performance the most of the mobile app. The first thing is server performance. It so we can really influence that only if we ask backend developers about this performance, and then they will tackle that. Basically, service performance is not our responsibilities. We are front-end developers and we are building mobile applications. So the network performance is variable, and it depends on the condition of the network the device is connected to. Basically, we also can't influence that. So it's a network performance, and we can't tell to the client, sorry, you have a low network performance. Just install another SIM or buy another service for your network, things like that. We can't do that. So because of that, we can't influence that. So, and basically the app performance. This is the main thing we're gonna talk today. So, and the app performance is measured on the device itself and includes both device performance. It's a CPU, memory, battery, and app itself. It's a rendering time, response time, and its action. So let's talk about mobile app performance metrics. So let's start with the response time. Response time, this is the amount of time it takes for the app to respond to the user interactions. So our main target with response time is our to deliver our 60 FPS. We need to have the action dispatched in 16 milliseconds. So, and a fast response time is really critical for a smooth user experience. So let's move on to load time. Load time is the amount of time it takes for the app to load and become usable. So users expect apps to load quickly, and slow load time can lead a frustration from the client. So, and you think that it's pretty strange when you see that uploading for about 5 seconds. So, and it means that it has really low load time, and the user experience can be broken. So next thing is CPU usage. CPU usage measures how much of the device processing power the app is using. This metric is mostly connected with memory usage and battery usage, because when the mobile application gets a lot of memory, your mobile phone starting hitting, and it's really frustrating for the clients when you just started using the application and you see that first of all you need to charge your phone, but you had about 60% of battery. So then you encounter that something happens with the battery, that it's hitting, but you just want to send a message, for example, or something like that. And yeah, it is really not useful for the clients. So, and basically it is a network performance. This is it indicates how quickly the app can send and receive data over the network. So, and it can be connected with a server performance, it can be connected with a low network performance, and so on. And of course, it is a frame rate. Frame rate is the number of frames that can be rendered that can be displayed per second. So, and we've already spoken that frame rate is measuring in FPS. So, and our main target is 60 FPS. It is like a standard for mobile applications. So, well, let's talk about ways how can we measure mobile performance with React Native. So basically, I would say that from the development console in a simulator or emulator, we can toggle performance monitor. So, and it will indicate the main metrics that can be really helpful for us. Right after the toggle, we can go through for example, press the button and go through the application, and then we can encounter the things where our performance is really slow. So, and basically, the main properties we can handle from this performance console. We can handle the memory consumption, UI and JS thread FPS. Then it is time for scripts download and script execution. So, and but when it comes to the regular life, so I would say that the main thing that you will need to have a look, it is memory usage and UI and JS FPS. It means that it's about UI thread and JS thread. So then. From my perspective, I would also advise you try using Xcode performance monitoring. So it is a really powerful tool that can give you a really good interface for display, memory consumption, rendering time, and so on. And you can just try it in Xcode and in Android Studio, and it works really well as well. So I really advise you to do that. So, but if this interface doesn't satisfy your needs, you can try using Chrome DevTools. And this is the main friend for all of front-end developers and developers who write mobile applications with the JS. So, and basically you can measure mobile app performance in Chrome DevTools as well. So, and but I would say that so the interface is overcomplicated. So, and when we need to do something fast, we can. So it can be really frustrating to find the proper metric we are interested in. But you can set up some filters and so on to indicate the main processes in the application. So, and when it comes to my personal preferables, I would suggest you using Flipper with the profiler plugin. So, and it's a pretty simple. It is a pretty simple interface. So, and you can so it only the main things will be displayed here without any metrics, with extra metrics that you are not interested in. So, and it can be very helpful as well for you. So, but it is I would say that it is almost it is just my choice. So, and the next thing, I would say that it is mostly the really complicated thing that because so you need to run some scripts to execute performance analysis, performance data from the application. So to do that, you just need to run the script and then go through the application, and it will capture all the performance things you need. And then you will just need to export that into the DevTools. So, and select a proper thread for your needs, and then you will observe how fast your app responds to the user interactions. So, and yeah, it's and but it has some limitations that so you won't be able to execute this script on the lower React-native versions, because Hermes is was the feature that was delivered only this year. So let's move on. So we've already covered how can we measure the performance in React Native applications. How can we deal with that? So, and then let's talk the main problems we can solve. So, just to optimize your app performance. So let's start with let's start with code splitting. So what does it mean? It means that so the code splitting is a technique where you split your code into the smaller chunks or modules that can be loaded on demand. This can reduce the initial bundle size as only the necessary code is loaded when it's needed. So, and it's tend pretty close to lazy loading, and the lazy loading is just a continuation of code splitting. So, so you will load components or modules only when they are needed. So, and it's for React Native, it's pretty simple to use React Lazy to handle this lazy loading. So, and moving on to audit packages correctly. So, and this, so in, I would say that it's a kind the most common problem when the developers trying to boost their development time trying to shorten their development time for the feature, just install the package. So whatever it can be. So it doesn't matter. So but when you install the packages, you need to understand. So you need to take into account how much files is there, or what features is that delivers to you. So does this package have any issues related with performance? So and I would also advise you to have a look at the source code of this package. It is really important, because so this package can have a lot of really old packages in itself, as peer dependencies and so on. So, and these packages can be outdated and it may have performance issues. So, and I would also ask you to analyze the bundle size for this package, because it affects the load bundle time as well. So for example, I can give you so the real-time example that we faced recently, so on the project. So someone installed React Native someone installed a React Native floating label input. So, and the size of this bundle was about 300 meters. But it was just a simple component that can be developed from scratch in a short time, but it took about 300 meters. So, but in a comparison with, for example, the most expensive libraries are the UI libraries like Material UI, Native Base, and so on. The native base size is about 9 meters, but the size for the React Native floating label input is about 300 meters. It was something really unbelievable. So, and you need to have a look at that. So, and you need to take it into account. So let's move on to the minification. So basically, it is a pretty straightforward technique when you minimize your bundle size. So and it means that so your bundle will be loaded much faster than it was without minification. But it works under the box anyway. Our JavaScript bundle is represented with as a bundle. So, and the bundle will be minified. So, and it works under the box. But I know some techniques that can even boost this minification. So, for example, you can write your own minification tool that will just compress your JavaScript bundle in sizes. But it is not a common practice to do that. So just use our internal tools, and you will be satisfied. So the next thing is asset management. So when it comes to asset management, it's mostly connected with different assets that we can use in the app. So for example, it can be different kind of images. It can be even expensive images. So it can be different JPEG formats. So where you and it may the size of these photos can be about 5 meters and so on. So, and it won't be compressed. So 5 meters will take 5 meters in a source bundle. So because of that, I always I always advise to React Native developers, first of all, use SVG graphics. It's pretty simple to deal with that in the application, and it will be adapted to different screen sizes. The second thing is when it comes to standard SVG. For example, you can standard SVG. I mean that it is a number of icons that can be used everywhere. It is not a specific icons. I always ask React Native developers to generate a font with these SVG graphics. So, and it will be much better to use, and it will save the number of space so you're working with, so in the bundle. And then when it comes to different PNG and so on, I prefer using different services, for example, as a Firebase or something like that, to just to catch these images there, and then we will just install them by the demand. So and it will save the space in the final bundle. So and then it is a components preloading and inline requires. When it comes to this thing, so it is pretty connected with lazy loading, but the inline requires gives you an opportunity to load bundle to load some expensive modules by the demand. So you can just, for example, press the button and you need to have these module loaded, for example. So you will just need a simple JavaScript strings like a require, and then you put the module path, and it will be loaded into the memory, and then you will use it. So moving on to another thing, to the second thing, that the most common thing I face. So something happened with the useNative driver, but so it is a useNative driver. So, and the useNative driver, this is the flag that can help us with a native animated module to run our animations on the native side, not on the JavaScript side. So, but it can be very useful only for simple animations like different interpolations, roundings, and jumping, and so on. But when it comes to really complex animations, so it won't work, because but when it comes to complex animations, I always advise to use React Native Reanimated to execute. And this library helps us to execute complex animations on the native thread. So it means that our UI performance will be increased. So and please don't forget about the interaction manager. So, and this module gives us a method to run scheduled animations. It is run after interactions. It works the same as request animation frame in web. But interaction, the main difference is that interaction manager handles animations on the native thread, and it controls animation on the native and JavaScript thread. It means that even if you run the animation on the JavaScript thread, you can handle that with the interaction manager. So, and this method will run animation right after, it will run some expensive job run after the interaction is finished. So, moving on to the next thing, it's about images. That I would say that that was a top 3 questions with the React Native performance optimization. So, and first of all, so we can use caching for images, for image component, and it will reduce the time for loading assets. So the next thing is to use the receive mode. So, and it will boost the performance of this component as well. So, and you can try leverage React Native fast image. So I use that in my in one of my social networking application. So when we needed to load a lot of images, videos, and so on and so forth, as fast as it can be. So, and because of that, we use this library, and we prioritized preloading and image loading. So, and this library gives us an opportunity to make a priorities for loading assets. So we can say that this asset is a high priority and it should be rendered the first one. So moving on to the next thing that's pretty close to animations. That so I would ask you to try avoid animating component with the images itself. So we need to wrap the image component with the animated view. This is the special view component from the library, from the module. So, and why is it helpful? So we are not transforming the original image. So we are just manipulating with the box. So, and this image will be placed into this box, and it will be animated with this box as well. But we are not modifying the transform option in the image, because images can be really really large with the size, with the dimensions, and this image can be broken. So and well, as I already mentioned, that use PNG and SVG formats instead of JPEG and JPG. So, and this is the common practice to use assets in React Native mobile applications. And in the as far as I know, it is not only about React Native application. So it's mostly about mobile development. So moving on to memorization. So, and first of all, so you can use so when it comes to data loading, you can use Access Catch Adapter. So, and it will catch some responses, some calls, and you will have preloaded data if, for example, if nothing changed. So you don't need to send this request, or you need to handle that. So, and but you will get response much faster than just a simple network request. So the next thing is use memo and use callback. So, and so it is a pretty considerable thing. So, but so I really convinced, and I even tested that in practice, that it helps us with React lifecycle optimizations. So it means that we won't create, for example, functions, variables when it comes to rendering. So when the component is rendered, you won't create the things that shouldn't be recreated because they didn't change it. They didn't change. So then, when it comes to store caching, it's a pretty straightforward practice to use Redux persist, and it helps us with the store caching. And so it will save the data in async storage, or even it can catch something within the secure storage. If it's needed, you just need to provide the service you would like to use. So when the user exit the app and then get back to the app, so your store will be refreshed, and so you will use data already loaded into the memory. So, and the next most common question is navigation. So, and I faced a lot of problems with navigation in React Native for before, but I would say that it's when it comes to navigation performance, basically in 90%. It was a development. It was a human mistake that you used an appropriate navigator. For example, you didn't use lazy loading, especially for tab navigator. And it can be really useful for the app with a large number of roads. So it was. One of the root cause of performance issues was just to fetch something on component did mount, like cycle method, so I use effect. But when it comes to navigation, I always ask developers to use focus effect, and it can help us for lazy loaded components. So when the user turns to the screen, the fetch will be called only at that point. And it is only a navigation effect. So, and when it comes to, and I would also ask to set navigation options and use layout effect that can help us with updating headers smoothly. But because I faced a lot of issues with the headers, with the native headers in React Native application, and I would say that only navigation options and layout effect can help at that point. So guys, we are pretty close to the end of the presentation, so I would like to ask you about your questions. So don't hesitate, just write it down in the chat. So I will try to cover that. So let's move on to React Native components. So and the first thing is flat list and section list. So these lists optimize for rendering large lists, and when it comes to specific to the flat list and section list, I would say that it renders only the content that can be covered in a viewport. So it means that you will then you will scroll down the page. So and then you will encounter that this component will be these components will be lazy loaded there. So it's also the common practice to use key prop for the lists. I think that it's not necessary to cover during this presentation. I think that it is the most common practice to use keys for large lists. So in terms of React optimizations. So when it comes to next one is the text component. And I would ask you to specify the number of lines, just to limit the number of rendering lines, and ellipsize mode for specifying how text should be truncated. So, and it is not significant. It is not significant changes, but in some larger text, it can be really helpful. So the most common problem is the touchable component. It's a touchable opacity, touchable highlight, and pressable. So it has the most common event is on press. So, but when it comes to this component, I always ask people to use on press in and on press out on press out instead, because so when you run on press, so when you call this on press, so the animation for this touchable component will be started. So and then you submit an event of on press. So you will just overload the system. Let's try to call this method only before the animation or right after the animation. So on press in will be called before the animation, and on press out will be called right after the animation. But there are no differences for the user. So and the text input. So it is almost the most common practice to use the bounce value to trigger events if you are doing something on change. So use on-end submit editing method to perform expensive job based on the entered value. So and it will definitely improve the performance of this input. So probably that was all performance issues I wanted to cover. So and so this time is just for advertisement. So I will. So it's my this is my LinkedIn, our JSCC community, Transport Georgia, and of course the tech stack. So and currently I am going to answer some of your questions. So so the first question I see, so it was from Oleg. So what can you advise for optimizing the synchronization of large collections in Google Firebase? Well, the synchronization of large collections. So as if I understand that correctly, so you are using Google Firebase database. So what do you mean by synchronization? Just type it in the chat, so and I will be ready to answer. So, but from my experience, I would say that when it comes to the synchronization of different collections in Firebase, so based on some users' input, I would say using Lambda functions in React in Firebase. So and it also gives us an opportunity to use this as well as AWS. So I think that we can try using Lambda function. So and the large collections. So and probably. Let me answer the next question, and then I will try to think about that. Or you can contact me directly, and we will consider your situation. So, and the next question is for Dmitry. How about pure component and React Memo for memorization components? Should we wrap all components or not? So basically, I'm not sure that it's a good practice to wrap in a React Memo or make all of our components into the pure components. I would say that it is not a good practice because by default, React already optimized the processes for us. So and in 90% of 90% of React components, we don't need to use React Mem because it was already optimized by the system. What for we should use the wrapping our components with another functionality, so to prevent some re-rendering. So I think that it is not useful when it comes to all components. So and I would say that it can it is even a bad practice to use it. So probably that's so I see that no questions left in the chat. So, Alec, please contact me in LinkedIn, for example. So, even if you are working at EPAM, so you can contact me in Teams, and I will try to help you. Okay, so I see. Okay, just contact me, and we will try to help you. Okay, so well, thank you all for your audience. It was really I think that it could be really useful for you. So, and if you have any questions and you need any assistance, don't hesitate, just contact me. So, and I would say thank you. So, and probably that's it for today. So, thank you all. Thank you all. Bye.